I step out of the dusty pickup truck, slam the door shut, and momentarily close my eyes against the bright Texas sun. I'm returning from the site where we spent the whole day pouring the foundation for the future house. The clients want a strong structure to survive any storm. Full-time I stand either with a welding machine or with a shovel, all the time peering at the plans, checking the correctness of the angles, keeping an eye on the guys. The town is small, construction opportunities are limited, but in the suburbs there is plenty of scope. I'm tired as a dog, but at the same time I feel pleasant satisfaction. A lot has been done, we're working well together, and the payment for the project is not bad. I open the gate. She creaks, as if grumbling at me. I came late again. However, this is a common thing. I live in the same rhythm. I go to work in the morning, go home in the evening. Sometimes I take overtime if I receive a large order. My wife, Linda, dreams of a social life, but I see my path elsewhere. For me, there is no greater happiness than building a house with my own hands. I love the smell of wood, the rustle of crushed stone and concrete mixtures. This reminds me of the former service, where everything was clear, structured, and my soul rejoiced in order. I park the pickup truck and take my worn backpack out of the back. My neck hurts, I want cold beer and peace. I dream of getting to the shower and washing off all the dust. I take off my cap, shaking my hair an old habit. I remember how the guys at the site joked, "Jack, let's go to the barbecue in the evening." Usually I wouldn't mind, but today I feel like it's time to go home. I need to spend time with my wife, even though we often see each other in passing. I approach the porch and notice the door is slightly open, but it's dark inside. It's strange, Linda usually turns on the lights so that there is at least a little civility in our house, as she likes to say. I carefully push the door, trying not to make any noise. I expect to see my wife in the living room or kitchen, but there is silence. Only a faint glow from the TV, and even then it was turned off. Maybe he's sleeping. "Linda," I call in a low voice. "I'm home." And suddenly I hear a nervous cough from the kitchen. I go in, open the door, and see her standing at the stove. There is an empty plate and a pair of dirty forks on the table. Something doesn't feel right to her. I try to smile. "Hi, honey. I was a little late. How are you?" She turns in my direction. On her face, fatigue mixed with dissatisfaction. I know this look. He says, "You better come up with an explanation right away." But I explained yesterday that there would be a lot of work, a new client, big plans. He came again in the dust. Linda squints her eyes, as if examining me under a magnifying glass. "You can't even undress properly. The entire threshold is dirty. When will we live like people?" I sigh. I look at my boots. Indeed, concrete dust and earth have stuck to them. I take them off right away in the corridor and say, "Sorry, it's just that the facility is a complete mess. But you have to cling to your earnings, right? What's the point?" Linda nods at my boots, as if they are the root of all evil. "Will you never stop running around doing such dirty jobs?" This remark of hers cuts to the heart. She knows that for me construction is both income and a spiritual outlet. We've been talking about this for a long time. I restrain myself from answering harshly. "I'll take a shower now, and everything will be fine." I try to speak calmly. "Really, Linda, I'm very tired. Let's talk in the morning." But she's already started up. "No, I'm tired of you constantly carrying dust, cement, and the smell of wood. When will we start living normally? When will we enjoy life like my friends?" I close my eyes as hundreds of thoughts pop up in my head. Normal, what does she think? I have never heard a clear definition from her. Linda has a lot of ambitions. She wants things that, as it seems to me, we cannot afford yet. And do I really want this gloss? "Linda," I begin quietly, "we live as best we can. We have a house. Although it is small, it is ours. I am working. I have orders constantly. There is money for food, for clothes, for a car. Sorry that I didn't come in a tie and suit, but—" "You don't understand everything," she interrupts. "How do people live in big houses, drive expensive cars, fly to resorts, And all you know is to hump your back like yesterday's soldier at the training ground. My heart sank. She pricked me with the past. I really am a former military man. But at least there was brotherhood and clarity there. But here, a second pause. I hear the clock ticking on the wall in the kitchen. I understand that it is pointless to prove anything now. I bow my head. Okay, Linda, I sigh. I don't want to swear. Yes, I'm dirty, sorry, and yes, I'm not a hero, not a businessman, I'm just a builder. I turn around and leave the kitchen. She says after me, quieter, but still broken. I just want a better life. I hear fatigue in her voice, not even anger, but despair. Maybe she really has a hard time with me. And I wash off the sweat and dust with cold water, stand in the shower, and my thoughts are spinning. When did everything become like this? After all, we once laughed together, ate pizza on the floor in a new apartment, and were happy. Maybe it was a hard day for both of them. I hope she relents tomorrow. But anxiety rises inside, although I try to drown it out. I finish my cold beer alone on the porch in complete darkness and try not to think about anything. Only the moon sparkles above us and the crickets sing their night songs. In the morning, I wake up earlier, as usual, before the sun rises. I get up quietly so as not to wake Linda. I hear her measured breathing. But she suddenly moves, and I understand that, apparently, she is no longer truly sleeping. She is simply lying with her eyes closed. I carefully step out into the corridor, pull on jeans and an old t-shirt. I look at the clock. 5 in the morning. We need to be at the site by 7, but I would also like to have breakfast. As I pass by the bedroom, Linda says, "Hey, Jack." I stopped, a little surprised. I walk into the twilight of the bedroom. Yes, I see how she sat down on the bed, straightening her hair. Her face seems thoughtful. When you get back, bring me something from the store, okay? We're out of bread, and anyway, her voice trembles. She looks towards the window. I might need to go see Kate today. She found a new home. I feel a wave of incomprehensible feeling rising inside me. This Kate again. It constantly sounds in our conversations that Kate is there. Kate is there. Kate bought something new. Linda herself, of course, is not to blame that her friends live on a larger scale, but it still bothers me. However, I try to remain calm. Fine. After work, I'll stop by the supermarket. What else do you need? Maybe milk, butter? Yes, please. Just take the more expensive one. Otherwise, you usually carry the cheapest one. Okay, I raise an eyebrow. It will be done. I'm about to leave, but Linda suddenly starts telling the news. By the way, Marge is flying to Bali the other day. Can you imagine? Bali. And she also wrote that she would like to invite me, but I refused. Still no money. I pause and choose my answer carefully. I don't want to provoke a conflict again. It's great that she has the opportunity. I shrug my shoulders. But why do we need this? In response, Linda throws up her hands sadly. Here, see, this is your attitude. Why do we need this? Or maybe we could also go somewhere, relax, if you found a better job, got a job in a large company. But you can be an excellent designer, foreman, whatever. And for some reason you sit like this. I feel resentment boiling inside. I don't sit like this. I work from morning to evening, and I have my own construction team, albeit not too large. Yes, we are not a corporation, but we have all orders scheduled a month in advance. Linda, I say quietly so as not to break down, I have a team. I build houses. I help people. We do not live richly, but stably. And this should lead to happiness, she says sarcastically. It seems to me that you're just too lazy to grow up. I feel like I need to move away, otherwise the quarrel will flare up. I nod silently. I got you, and I go to the kitchen to prepare breakfast. Later, when I'm already in the hallway, putting on my shoes, she comes out to me, as if she's changed her mind about being harsh. He looks at me reproachfully, but a little softer. Okay, I didn't mean to hurt you. I just want better, for both of us. Understand? I shrug. I'm already tired of saying something. I'll be there in the evening. I'll try to come back early. I'll probably stop by Kate's by then. She's having a housewarming party soon, she says. They bought a huge house. Congratulations to them. I try to smile. I have a lot of work today. Yes, she turns away. I leave, feeling my soul aching from these constant comparisons. Marge is flying to Bali, Kate bought a house, and what are we? And all this, according to Linda, is my fault. And I feel uneasy. I'm leaving for the site. The day starts off hard. I spend the whole day at the construction site. I find no peace for myself. Even the guys notice my gloom. Hey boss, what happened? Asks Carl, our masonry specialist. You're not in the mood today. Yes, there are problems at home. I grin weakly, pretending that everything is fine. Come on, fill this area. We still have a huge amount of work to do. They nod silently, realizing that it is better not to interfere. In the evening, when I go to the supermarket, I take more expensive bread, as Linda asked, butter, eggs, and some other small things. I look at the price tags and, gritting my teeth, realize, yes, everything is getting more expensive, and she wants something more. But I try to drive away the resentment and anger. I want to come home with a bag of food to relieve the tension at least a little. Maybe she will be happy, at least for a while. After all, I love her. She just became different. I come home around 8 in the evening. I see that Linda is busy in the kitchen with a telephone conversation, chatting cheerfully about something. Yes, Kate, of course. Congratulations. Jack? Oh, okay, we'll talk soon. Kiss you. She ends the conversation and looks at me. Well, my hero, have you shopped? Yes. I'm showing you the complete package. Your favorite bread. Great, at least you're great at something. He smiles a little mockingly, but still smiles. I look at her. She seems to have become kinder. For dinner, I made pasta with cheese sauce, not a restaurant, of course, but better than an empty kitchen. We sat down at the table. I try to ask her about the day. How is it going with Kate? Is it really a new house? Oh yes, they signed a contract yesterday. Huge mansion with a swimming pool. Brad, they say, rose to the top at some startup. Now they want to hire a more expensive crew to bring everything to perfection. I smile wryly. Well, they know better. In general, I build houses for people like them. How to understand this? Linda looks wary. Nothing. It's good that there is money. But why do we need this? And here, without meaning to, I repeat my line. Why do we need this? Linda wearily pushes her plate away. Have you ever dreamed of something more? I don't think you have any ambition, Jack. And that makes me upset. I clench my hands into fists under the table so as not to start an argument. I understand that the conversation was heading towards this. I'm ambitious at heart, but in my own way. I want to build my own company, hire more guys, and take on big contracts. I just have my own pace. I don't want to get involved in huge loans. Linda, I say quietly, let's be a little patient. I want to develop my business, but gradually. Large loans are a big risk. She sighs, silently takes the plate, and takes it to the kitchen. This ends the conversation, and I sit and think. After all, another day has passed, and we are still marking time. We once talked about opening something together, maybe a home goods store or a design studio. Where is all this? Thus ends another evening. The following days pass in routine work, but the tension in the house is clearly growing. Linda increasingly goes out in the evenings to see friends or to go shopping. When I return, she is either already in bed or locked in the bathroom. On Saturday evening, I was delayed at the site. I had to finish the roof before the rains. I drive home, fully confident that Linda is there, but I find only an empty house. There is a whole mountain of unwashed dishes in the sink. Her things are nowhere to be found, not even a single note. Linda, I call, hoping that she is somewhere in the living room, but silence. I call her on her mobile phone. The beeps keep ringing for a long time. Finally, he picks up the phone. I hear women's laughter, music, and some kind of hum in the background. Yes, Jack, what do you want? Her voice is raised and sharp. Where are you? I'm with my friends. What's happened? Nothing, I'm just worried. You didn't say you'd leave. She laughs into the phone. Oh, don't start. I don't have to tell you every step, right? That's it. Come on, I'm busy. And hang up. I'm standing in the middle of the kitchen, holding the phone to my ear, feeling like a stranger in my own home. I look at her half-empty closet. Some new dress is hanging, obviously expensive. I don't remember us buying one. For some reason, embarrassment and anger cover me like a wave. Walking along the corridor, I notice that the door to her dressing room, the small room that we were trying to arrange, is closed. I push it slightly to hang my jacket there, but the door is locked. Since when does she lock her closet, I think? I look at the handle. There is some kind of new lock there. It's not clear why she needs this, but I decide not to meddle in other people's affairs, although it arouses suspicion. The next morning, Linda returns closer to 10. She smells of someone else's perfume and cigarette smoke she has never smoked. Taking a cup of coffee, I carefully ask her, "Did you have a good walk?" "Yes," he answers briefly and goes into the bathroom. I notice that her phone is now always password protected, whereas previously it was open on the table when she left. The former military man's intuition haunts him. Something is wrong, and she immediately puts up a barrier for me as soon as I try to ask in more detail. "Stay out of my life, Jack." Such words are heard more and more often in our home, and it pains me to hear this because we are husband and wife. But something is changing, and I'm getting scared. Several times when I come home from work, she says that she can't talk now. She's tired, her head hurts, or she urgently needs to call her friend. But there is irritation in my voice, as if I'm bothering her. I try to gently start a conversation, but she repeats in response, "Jack, don't touch me. I want to mind my own business." When in the evening I try to bring her into a frank dialogue again, she explodes. "Don't you understand that I'm an adult woman who has her own personal life? As if I have to report to you every step. But we're a family." I try to object, but everything inside me shrinks. And what? Family does not mean dissolving into each other. I have friends, I have plans. And that's it. Further dialogue is meaningless. I sometimes find myself breathing easier during the day while I'm working than at home. Work becomes a refuge where these grievances and strange secretivenesses do not exist. I also notice, when she talks on the phone, she speaks in a whisper or goes into another room. And as soon as I appear, he immediately breaks off the conversation or leaves. She had friends before, but she didn't behave like that. One evening, tired of our cold environment, I just sit at the kitchen table, drink soda, and try to talk to her about something neutral, about a new recipe, about the weather. But the conversations don't lead to anything. It's like an invisible wall between us. Gritting my teeth, I decided not to press. Maybe it will go away on its own. Maybe there's a crisis. But suspicions gnaw at me from within. A couple of days later, Linda says to me, "We need to go to Kate's party. They're having a housewarming party, and Brad, her husband, asked to invite you too." I look at Linda in disbelief. "Why do they need me there?" "Because they know you." She goes through some jewelry on the dressing table. "Remember, you repaired the roof for them last year. And then it will be strange if I come alone. Whether you like it or not, we have to do it together." I feel how my whole nature protests inside. I feel uncomfortable in the company of these people who only talk about shopping, traveling, and their successes. But I understand that if I refuse, this will become a new reason for Linda to be angry. Besides, she kind of forces it, which means it's important to her. "Okay," I say reluctantly, "let's go." "When?" "Tonight. Around 7. Wear something normal, not work clothes." I smile wryly. I look at my jeans with paint stains and have a hard time imagining that I have anything normal. But in the wardrobe, somewhere there should be a more decent shirt, trousers without holes. By 6 in the evening, I get out of the shower, shine my shoes, put on a shirt that I only took out for some rare events. Linda appears all dressed up, in a new dress with a deep neckline and stiletto heels. She looks down at me. "Well, at least you're not disgracing me. Just a jacket wouldn't hurt you." "Blazer? In this heat?" I shake my head. It doesn't matter, it's an evening reception. I sigh, but go for my jacket. I feel like I just have to get through this evening. We get into my car and drive towards Kate's luxurious mansion. On the way, Linda hardly talks, but every now and then she checks her phone. Everything is fine? I can't stand it. Yes, Kate's just asking when we'll be there. They already have guests there. When we approach, I see a large white house with columns, a well-kept lawn, and several expensive cars at the entrance. I remember how a couple of years ago, I was hired to replace the roof and fix the veranda. Then the house belonged to other people, also with money. Now everything looks even more luxurious. Even the color of the facade has been updated. We leave and approach the door. Kate greets us with a smile. She is blonde, spectacular, in a luxurious dress, and looks like the happy owner of this palace. He hugs Linda and then, a little more reservedly, nods at me. Hello, Jack. How are you? Glad you came. Hello, Kate. Congratulations on your housewarming. The house is gorgeous. Yes, Brad tried very hard to find something worthy, Kate giggles. You pass, everyone is already here. We enter a spacious living room where there is music, people are laughing, and someone is already drinking champagne. I feel like I'm in someone else's world. Linda immediately disappears somewhere in the crowd of her friends. I stand there like a pillar, looking around awkwardly. I see Brad, a tall man with a smug smile, approach me and pat me on the shoulder. Oh, hi, Jack. How are your construction projects going? Hello, Brad. Yes, it's normal. We work. People order. He grins. Well, you build and we live. Look how beautiful we are. I swallow the lump in my throat. I understand that he is deliberately teasing me. I glance at the luxurious decoration of the living room. Marble floors, expensive furniture. Everything sparkles. I remember that a couple of years ago, I actually tinkered with boards and cement here. Yes, it turned out beautifully, I say as indifferently as possible. When are you due? He continues his malice. When will you have something like this? I clench my fists in my pockets, trying not to answer. At this moment, Linda comes up and with a slight smile says to Brad, Stop it, Brad, Jack has a different specificity. Oh, well, yes, he says. Okay, Jack, relax, take the champagne, relax. He goes to other guests, and I look at Linda. Why did you bring me here? He's just laughing. Jack, she pulls me by the sleeve. Well, you can't take everything with hostility. Brad is just kidding. At the end of the day, you need to communicate. Let's not ruin the evening. I'm trying to pull myself together. I go up to the buffet table and take a glass of champagne. I've never liked it. I prefer beer or whiskey, but apparently that's not an option here. I drink and think, this is probably what she wants. High society, big houses, rich friends, and here I am in the role of a poor builder. An hour later, when I already feel that I am slowly dissolving in the surroundings and stop stressing, I notice that Linda is somewhere chatting with her friends in the corner. As I pass by, I hear snippets of conversation. Doesn't want any prospects. I understand that, most likely, they are talking about me. My heart aches, but I pretend that I don't care. After some time, I notice that Brad is trying to talk to me again. Hey, Jack, listen, would you like to take over the contract? I'll probably build an extension here, although maybe I'll hire someone cooler. It depends what kind of work, I answered, remaining calm. He grins. Nothing special. Okay, forget it. There are richer friends there. At this moment, I am ready to explode, but I understand that you are succumbing to provocation. I silently turn away, finish the champagne, and put the glass down. I see Linda and her friends laughing and moving to another room. She glances at me as if to say, well, come on, be patient a little longer. At the end of the evening, when the guests are already leaving, Linda suddenly comes up to me with a clearly dissatisfied face. Did you have a fight with Brad? He came up to me and said that you were too gloomy. He's being boorish, I retort, trying not to raise my voice. He says, you build and we live. This is fine. It's a joke, Jack. Joke. Why are you so vulnerable? All my friends have long understood everything, but you. I take off my jacket. I'm hot and stuffy. I try to contain my anger. Sorry, let's just leave. I'm really tired. She clicks her tongue but agrees. We say goodbye to Kate. We drive in the car in silence. Not a word. Arriving home, I park the car and go to the workshop at the house. I need to cool down. I turn on the light and look around my workbench. There are tools, drawings, and a stack of wood for some project. I inhale a familiar smell. I feel calmer here. I think about why I needed this trip. Just another portion of humiliation. And Linda, in fact, did not take my side. Well, I'll survive. But the residue remains for a long time. A few days after the party, I returned from the site earlier than usual. I managed to finish work in the morning, and I decided to stop at the store, buy groceries, and surprise Linda cook dinner myself. Well, for once she'll like that I'm trying to do something. When I drive up to the house, I see Linda talking on the phone on the porch. She can't hear me because I'm on the other side, near the garage. I decided not to interfere and quietly approached to say hello. But suddenly, I catch her words. Yes, I need someone with scope, you know. Jack doesn't want to grow up. I'm tired of dragging him down. Yes, I know it sounds cruel, but I freeze in my tracks. Her voice trembles, and her words sting more than any reproaches. I need someone with scope. This is about me, damn it. Yes, okay, we'll talk later. Thank you. She quickly finishes and hangs up the call. I'm standing around the corner, feeling a cold sweat breaking out. Fear and pain at the same time. I have never heard such specific words from her. So this is what she really thinks. Jack is a loser who doesn't want to achieve anything. I gather my courage and walk around the corner. Hello, Linda. She shudders and turns around. Oh, are you home already? I didn't hear the car. Yes, I decided to return early. I try to speak in an even voice. How are you doing? She looks around uncertainty, puts the phone in her pocket. Fine, everything is fine. But I can see from the expression on her face that she was alarmed. She's probably wondering if I heard her conversation. I pretend I didn't hear because I'm not ready for a scandal right now. Listen, I say, trying to make my voice sound simple. Let's have dinner in the evening. I'll cook something. Dinner? She looks suspicious. You? Yes. Why not? Well, okay, if you want. We went into the house. I go to the kitchen, put away the groceries, and she goes into the bedroom. I hear the sound of the door closing. I stand with my hands on the table and try to digest her words. I need someone with panache. These words will be spinning in my head all evening. However, I try not to show it. I'm starting to prepare a simple recipe, pasta with chicken and cream sauce. While I'm chopping onions and carrots, I'm thinking about whether I still love Linda. Yes, I do. But I feel like we are getting further and further away from each other. And it hurts to think that she may be considering options where someone with scope will replace me. In the evening, when the dish is ready, I call her to the table. She appears, sits down, smiling languidly. Well, it smells good. Try it, I invite. She hesitates, looks at the plate. Thank you, Jack. It's kind of you. We start eating. I feel that she wants to say something, but hesitates. Finally, he throws out a cautious phrase. You're staying late at construction sites more and more often. Is everything okay? Quite. Just a big order, a cottage outside the city. We need to meet deadlines. Large order? This is good. It's as if she's trying to get me to talk, as if she's looking for confirmation that I'm spreading my wings. Yes, it pays decently. I hope we will be in the black. But I see that she is not too impressed. He probably still thinks that I don't want to join big businesses. We finish dinner almost in silence. I put away the dishes and she goes into the bedroom. I hear him talking on the phone again, but now I can't hear the words. I toss and turn all night, remembering the phrase I heard, Jack doesn't want to grow up. I need someone with scope. There comes a period when I literally leave to a new site early in the morning and return late in the evening. I took on a large order the construction of a cottage by the lake, not far from our town. The customer is an elderly couple who decided to move closer to nature. I agreed because the work pays well and also because the work became an outlet for me. Here, amid the noise of the saw and the smell of wood, I stopped thinking about my family problems. From morning to night, we work with the team, installing the frame, strengthening the supports, working on the roof. I love this process, especially when the sun falls evenly on you and you feel the strength and skill in your hands. At lunch, the guys and I sit on stumps under a canopy, chew sandwiches, and drink cold water. I think, here it is, a moment of peace. When the brain turns off from worries, there is only construction, step by step, so that by the end of the project, there will be a cozy home. Towards evening, we finish the next stage, and the guys, talking, go home. I'm staying. Sometimes I deliberately stay late so as not to return to an empty house and conversations at hand. I climb the stairs to the second floor. There are no railings yet. I need to be careful. I sit on the edge of the ceiling, dangling my legs, and admire the sunset over the lake. The seagulls are circling, the water is quietly splashing, and the air is so fresh that you want to breathe deeply. I close my eyes and imagine that I am building a house for myself, for Linda and me, to start all over again. But I know, this is not our home. This is someone else's order. And I don't think Linda needs such a quiet corner. She would be closer to the city party and her friends with their endless parties. When it gets dark, I drive back along the country road. I turn on the headlights and walk at low speed because the road is not the smoothest. There is silence in the car, only the engine hums. At one of the turns I stop and go out to smoke. Although I quit many years ago, now I'm drawn to it again. I bought myself a small pack. I took one cigarette and remembered my service in the army. It was simpler there. Orders, discipline, clarity. And here, I used to think that everything was fine in civilian life, but it turns out that at home, it's another battle. Maybe I didn't approach family life the right way. I return closer to midnight. I look at the darkness of the house. Only the night light in the living room is lit in the windows. I go in quietly. Linda is already asleep, or pretends to be. I also fall asleep exhausted. This is how it goes day after day. Sometimes she asks a routine question. Will you finish this cottage soon? Another couple of months, at least. Sure. And he falls silent. He doesn't ask how things are going at the site. He's not happy that this is a profitable job. On weekends, she either visits her friends or says that she needs to go for a walk. I could call her to the site, show her what I'm doing, but I feel that she's not interested. Work really became a salvation for me. I am even happy to take on additional workload if the customer asks. Another extension, another shed, anything, just not to sit at home, where there is silence and tension. One day, the foreman, Carl, notices that I come with swollen eyes. Listen, boss, you're really worn out. Everything is fine. Fine, I answer dryly. Maybe you can take a day off. You, over there, have red eyes. No, Carl, thank you. I'm better here. Doesn't your wife swear that she doesn't see you? I just smile sadly. I don't think she's eager to see me lately. Carl nods understandingly. It is clear that he wants to advise something, but does not dare. He goes to the guys. I stay with my thoughts. I look at the pile foundation and think, what strong supports this house has. It's a pity that my marriage doesn't seem to have such a foundation. One evening, quite late, somewhere around 11, I returned, as usual. The car rattles along the gravel path. I enter the house and immediately hear that Linda is also awake. The noise of the TV is coming from the living room. I see dim light. I take off my shoes and go inside. Hello, I say quietly. Linda is sitting on the sofa in an evening dress. Her hair is styled. Her makeup has not yet been wiped off. She smells like wine. He looks at me unkindly. In front of her is an empty glass and an almost empty bottle of wine. Where have you been? Asks sharply. At work, as always. I was fiddling with the finishing. And you? One of my friends had a bachelorette party. She shakes the glass in her hand, as if inviting me to notice that she is tipsy. We had a great time. Didn't you even think to call or warn that you'll be late? Linda, I always warn you that I have a lot of work. Besides, do you care when I come back? She gets up and sways slightly. How dare you say that? I'm your wife. I'm worried. What if something happened to you? I am internally indignant. She almost never shows up at home, and now she's also presenting it to me. But I try to control myself. I, I didn't want to disturb you, I say. It's okay, I worked. Worked. She raises her voice. You're never home. How will we live from now on? And then it breaks through to me. The resentment has been building up for too long. Linda, when was the last time you wanted to spend the evening with me? You're always with friends, at parties, or on your phone. And when I come, you just close. She purses her lips, shaking her head. This is because you yourself don't want to be around. Your construction projects are more important to you. Of course, because this is the only thing I have left. I almost scream. I'm tired of listening to your constant complaints about dirt, dust, lack of ambition. Now you're saying that you care where I am, but you're already one step away from. I stop. I don't want to say something that I might not take back later, but the feeling that she is betraying me does not let me go. Let's not, I say more quietly. You're tired, I'm tired. Let's just go to bed. No, she throws up her hands. You are not my master. Don't you dare tell me what to do. I feel cold inside. You are not my master is already a harsh statement. I've never said that before. I take a step back. Okay? Then I'll go to the workshop. I'll spend the night there. She throws after. Go wherever you want. I don't care. I take a blanket from the closet and a pillow. I hear her pour herself some wine again. I feel sorry for her, sorry for myself, and offended at the same time. I go out into the dark courtyard. The stars are shining brightly. I go into my workshop, a small barn with an outbuilding. There is a sofa here, a little damp, but it will do. I turn on the lamp. I'm looking at the tools, and I think, is it really coming to the point that we will separate? The night passes almost without sleep. I lie on a hard sofa, listen to the sound of the wind outside the walls, and remember how a couple of years ago, we were a couple in love who dreamed of a future together. Where did all this go? In the morning, I wake up from the cold. The workshop isn't that warm, even though this is Texas. It gets hot during the day, but the nights can be cool. I get up and rub my stiff shoulders. I heard a door slam somewhere in the house. Linda must have gotten up. I don't know if I can go back to the house or if I'm not welcome there, but you need to change clothes and pack your things. He risked going into the house. I open the door carefully and call. Linda, I'm here. I hear her voice from the kitchen. I walk in. She's in a robe, no makeup, making coffee. I see that she herself doesn't look well, with circles under her eyes. Maybe your head hurts after drinking. Hello, I say. How are you? She is silent, pours coffee into a mug, and puts it on the table. Finally, he looks up. If you want to have breakfast, there are eggs in the refrigerator. Cook it yourself. I understand that she is not going to put up. I go to the refrigerator. I can't stand the silence anymore. Linda, listen, let's talk normally. What happened at night was, it was a madhouse. So speak, she frowns. About what? I grab the mug and place it on the table opposite her. Let's be honest. Why did you start acting so distant? I see. You have your phone in your hands all the time, passwords, secret conversations. Are you really hiding something? She didn't seem to expect such pressure. The glance runs. This is my personal business. A personal matter? You are my wife. Do you have anyone else? She jumps up. How can you say such a thing? Insolent. Yes, Linda, I feel it. Your smile when you text. You started hiding your phone and started leaving without warning. You don't explain anything. I'm worried. Just tell the truth. She purses her lips and sharply puts down her mug. There's nothing like that, okay? Don't you dare attribute to me something that doesn't exist. And in general, I don't have to make excuses. Okay, I raise my hands in a conciliatory gesture. But I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I want everything to be fine with us, but I see that we are moving away. It's only in your head. She takes the coffee and goes to her room. I'm staying. The feeling of emptiness intensifies. What's next? She didn't really answer. I can't calm down. In the following days, her behavior continues to remain secretive. As soon as I appear nearby, she changes the topic of conversation and blocks the phone. I'm starting to understand that something is wrong here, but I don't even have the strength to play scouts and then prove that something happened. In the evenings, I come home late again. Sometimes she doesn't even say hello when I come in. I try to talk to her, but she brushes me off. Mistrust is growing. I notice the anger in me that is building up. But for now, I'm trying to control myself. I think, if she knew how much I want us to have everything as before. One evening, I'm back in the workshop, finishing some calculations. I hear her phone ringing in the house. She speaks, then goes quiet. Then I hear a whisper. Yes, yes, not now, okay? I know that she does not speak so quietly with her friends, and inside me the panic button turns on again. But for now, I'm silent, waiting. What if she gets out of it? What if it's nothing? But doubts do not disappear, and she herself doesn't explain anything. At a construction site one day, one of the workers, an old man named Jerry, comes up to me. He has been in this business for 20 years. He has seen a lot. He looks at me with narrowed eyes and says, "My friend, you can say that this is none of my business, but I notice that you walk around as if in a daze." What's happened? I shrug. Yes, it's personal. Is your wife acting weird? I looked at him, surprised how he guessed. Something's wrong at home, I finally admit, but I don't want to go into details. Jerry grins, hiding his mockery in his mustache, and jokes. Well, keep your wife in line, otherwise they will take you away. I give a wry smile, trying not to show how much these words hit me. It seems like a joke, but it goes straight to what I fear. Old man, I say, I have everything under control. Of course, he pats me on the shoulder. You're a cool guy, but keep your eyes open. I know that Jerry didn't mean anything bad. He's just old school. He believes that a man should keep his wife in line. But times have changed, and this is not the approach. However, his words about, "they will take you away," get stuck in your head for a long time. And when I go home in the evening, I keep wondering, what if someone really claims my wife? I remember her phrases, "I need someone with scope." Maybe you've already found the scope? I try not to escalate things, but my vigilance is growing. I begin to take a closer look at her surroundings. Friends, their husbands, acquaintances. Brad is an arrogant type, but he's hardly one. There are also other guys from their company that I know little about. I remember that about once a month she went to meetings for work, but she stopped mentioning them a long time ago. I'm starting to feel jealous, but there is no direct evidence. I endure it, trying not to let my anger out. I think maybe this is a crisis. She is passionate about someone in correspondence, but it's not a fact that it has become serious. Maybe it's just her fantasy. Still, I can't get Jerry's words out of my head. I try to behave more attentively with Linda, asking how her day went, but she withdraws. When I try to hug him, he pulls away. Sex life has almost disappeared. I go to the workshop or go to bed earlier, she comes later. We are like neighbors, not spouses. The day comes when work on site unexpectedly goes faster than planned. We finish covering the walls earlier, the team notes. "Great job, boss. Maybe we can finish early today." "Yes, indeed. Well done," I agree. I'm in high spirits. I'll go to the store, buy Linda her favorite wine. Maybe we'll have a romantic evening. Let him at least see that I tried. There is a glimmer of hope that I can somehow melt the ice between us. I quickly turn up, get into the pickup truck, drive down the highway, and stop at a liquor store. I chose a bottle of white wine, which she loved, and some other fruits. Then I go home. On the way, I imagine how I'll come in, say, "Surprise. We'll have a drink together, have a heart-to-heart talk. Maybe she'll tell you what's bothering her. Maybe we can still find a compromise. I'm standing in the hallway holding a bottle of wine and a bag of fruit. Quietly, like a former military man, I silently walk on the parquet floor, listening to what is happening in the house. There's a nasty, burning anxiety in my soul. There's someone else's Mustang parked in our driveway. The man's voice coming from the bedroom where Linda and I usually sleep sounds muffled, but I clearly understand that this is not just a friendly visit. Damn, my fingers are going numb. In the slightly open bedroom door, I hear laughter, muffled phrases, and suddenly among them is Linda's voice. Brad flashes through your head like a flash of lightning. I remember his grins, his words at the party, "You build and we live," and also the contemptuous tone in which he spoke to me when I was trying not to lose my temper. If now it turns out that he is here, with me under the same roof, then. No, this is already beyond the bounds. My first thought, maybe I'm imagining all this. Maybe I screwed myself up. What if it was just someone who came to Linda on business, some kind of meeting or a friend? But deep down, I understand that respectable acquaintances do not sit behind a closed door when the owner is not at home and do not conduct conversations in a whisper. I put the wine on the nightstand so it won't break in anger and slowly reach out to the bedroom doorknob. Everything inside me is on fire. It seems that time is slowing down. I hear my heart beating wildly, and somewhere very close their voices, laughter, quiet remarks. Feeling a rush of adrenaline, I push the door. The scene I see seems to knock me out of reality for a moment. Linda is reclining on our marital bed. Next to her is Brad, with his shirt unbuttoned, and he has that smug grin on his face that I remember from the housewarming day. They don't even have time to react before I enter. Linda, seeing me, literally jumps, pulling the blanket over herself. Jack, it's not what you think. Brad, on the contrary, only grins even stronger. Relax, dude. Why are you so tense? I stand motionless in the doorway. Everything in me is burning, seething. The blood is pounding in my temples, so much that it's blocking my ears. For a split second, I want to rush towards him, break that grin, punch him so hard that he flies out the window to his Mustang. But something stops. Perhaps a remnant of self-control, or the thought that I don't want to serve time for such a scumbag, and especially for Linda. Instead, I silently turn my gaze to her. She, trying to cover her nakedness, squeezes the edge of the sheet and absurdly reaches out to me, as if hoping to justify herself. There is fear and confusion on the face, but not repentance. And her phrase, "It's not what you think," sounds so absurd that cold rage turns on in me. After all, the picture speaks for itself. What explanations could there be? "Jack," she mutters frantically, I wanted to tell you. It just happened that way." I raise my hand and motion for her to be quiet. I'm silent myself, but I glare at both her and Brad. All the last weeks, months, all the oddities in her behavior, her omissions, secret calls, words, I need someone with scope. Here he sits, this scale is in my sheets, damn betrayal. Without saying a word, I take a step back and leave the bedroom, giving them just a few seconds to figure out what's coming next. A wild desire is pounding in my chest to break something, to bring this whole house down to hell. But I try to maintain control over myself, because I know there are things that are stronger than emotions. My dignity, my life. I don't want to become like this type who only knows how to humiliate others. Linda's sob can be heard from the room. "Brad, get dressed quickly. Jack, he can." And Brad just grimaces. What will he do? I hear them fussing, the rustling of clothes. I'm waiting in the corridor, arms crossed over my chest. My heart is pounding so much that it seems to me that just a little more and I'll lose control of myself. But I decided we need to give them the opportunity to leave quietly, so as not to create a bloody scene in front of the neighbors. How painful this is, Lord, I think, biting the inside of my cheek so as not to howl with insult. My wife, my woman, and this bastard. But then the rage gives way to icy coldness. So it's all over. There are no more attempts to return the relationship. There is no talk about surviving the crisis. This is the point of no return. I hear them finish getting dressed. Linda tries to talk to me, but I remain silent. My breathing is heavy, I clench my fists, but I continue to just wait. I understand with my mind that my life is now split into before and after. Finally, the bedroom door opens slightly. Linda comes out first. Her hair is disheveled. Her dress is thrown on haphazardly. This freak Brad follows her. The smell of his expensive lotion hits her nose disgustingly. I just glanced at him, and he said with his smug grin, "Well, Jack, what are you?" And he doesn't have time to finish. "Shut your mouth," I finally say. The voice makes Linda and Brad stop in their tracks. Linda stretches her hands towards me. There are tears in her eyes. "Jack, please, let's talk. It was a mistake. Everything turned out this way. Be silent," I repeat, quieter now, but even more threatening. Not a word. I turn my gaze to Brad, and although he continues to grin, he looks at me with some wariness. Maybe he finally realized that he should be wary of a former military man whose rage is at its limit. "Get ready," I say, pointing to the front door. "You have 5 minutes to get out of here." "Calm down, dude," Brad tries to mutter. "What are you?" "One more word, and you'll fly out the window," I answered, looking him straight in the eyes. There is silence. I see how he is looking for an answer, but apparently he senses something in me that should not be provoked. Linda starts crying. "Jack," she repeats in a whisper, "it was just one time. I was confused. I didn't know how to say. I still love you." Her words sound insanely false. "I love you. Ha, right from my bed with another man." I avert my eyes to avoid screaming. I speak harshly, but quietly. "Get ready and get out." She understands that it is useless to weave anything now. Sobbing, he grabs his bag from the bedside table and tries to find his car keys. Brad, seeing that my hand is clenched into a fist, rushes to the door. Halfway there, he turns around and tries to squeeze out. "Jack, old man, let's talk like men, huh?" At this moment, I take a couple of steps towards him and grab him by the collar of his shirt. Before he even realizes what's happening, I'm yanking him to the front door and literally throwing him out into the hallway. I hear him groan as he hits the wall, but manages to stay on his feet. Linda yells something inarticulate and runs after us. "How dare you?" Brad jumps up, turning around, but then he sees that I am raising my fist to strike, and he retreats. Okay, calm down. I didn't mean to." "Out there," I repeat coldly, pointing to the door. He gives up and goes out onto the porch. Linda tries to come between us, sobbing. "Jack, honey, please don't fight." "Consider yourself lucky," I tell Brad, because I had enough self-control. Brad is silent, just loses his grin, takes the keys to the Mustang out of his pocket. For a split second, I remember all those jokes of his and realize that I could smear him across the wall, but I deliberately stop. I turn sharply to Linda. "Pack your things." She looks at me like I'm a stranger. "What?" "Pack your things," I say. 5 minutes and you're leaving too." "But this is my home." She widens her eyes. "We bought it together, lived together. Where will I go?" "It's not my problem," I answered with a chilling calm. "You made your choice, Linda. Go to yours in a big way." She starts screaming hysterically. "Yes, it was a mistake. I didn't know how to live with your constant absence. You abandoned me. You're always on construction sites. You yourself have never tried to understand me." Some kind of storm of reproaches rises in her, tears flow, her voice breaks. But I just clench my teeth tighter. For some reason, all these words now seem like empty words to me. Whatever problems we have, cheating does not solve them. "Come on, quickly," I say, holding back the urge to throw something against the wall. "Your time has come." She, realizing that persuasion will not work, rushes around the hallway, grabs a jacket and some boots. Then, continuing to sob, he tries to take his cosmetics from the bedroom. I don't want to see this. I'm just waiting, checking the time on my watch. Now one thought is beating in my head. If only she could get the hell away. Brad is standing at the door, snoring. He's obviously uncomfortable, but he's trying to hang on to look cool. A minute passes, two, three. Linda runs out with her bags and tries to put something in the bag. Suddenly, it occurs to her that I am not letting her collect everything. I still have clothes in my wardrobe. That's enough for you, I bark. I'll throw the rest in the trash if you don't clean up now. With these words, I literally grab one of her bags and throw it towards the door. She screams, but sees my determination and freezes. That's it. Time is up. Go, I point with both hands. Close the door behind you. I don't want to see you anymore. Linda can't believe it's so simple. I don't make a huge scene. I don't break dishes. I don't shout curses. I just say, go away. For her, this is probably even worse than if I screamed and cried. They go out. I follow, watching as Brad stuffs Linda's things into the back seat of his car. Linda tries to approach me again, muttering, Jack, that was stupidity. I didn't mean to leave, But I am silent. I don't give her a chance to touch me. The air is filled with tension. Brad looks in my direction and tries to blurt out something like, let's go, Linda, he's already inadequate. But I give him such a look that he immediately slams the door. Then, almost skidding, he turns the steering wheel and drives away. The wheels are kicking up dust from our driveway. I remain standing in front of the house, barely breathing. It seems to me that all this is a bad dream. My marriage, my wife, everything collapsed overnight. Although no, it was crumbling a long time ago, and now it has simply manifested itself. There's a lump in my throat, but I'm not crying. My heart beats as if after a grueling fight. There is silence in the house. Only through the open door one can see the torn bedroom and crumpled sheets. It smells like betrayal. It smells like someone else's lotion. I hate this stench. Closing my eyes, I slowly inhale the air. All the stages come to mind. How we met Linda, how we dreamed about the future. Somewhere in the depths of my soul, there is a desperate cry, as if I had lost a part of myself. But on the outside, I seem to be in a stupor. I go up to the porch. I look at my pickup, at the remains of the day, at the sky, which is already starting to darken. That's it, I tell myself. This stage is over. Entered the house. First of all, he went to the bedroom, ripped off the sheets, tore them into shreds, and threw them into a garbage bag. The smell of someone else's perfume excited my nerves. I opened the windows wide to ventilate this abomination. Then I wiped it off my face and cursed through my teeth. I saw myself in the reflection of the mirror. An angry face, tense neck muscles, eyes like those of a predator. I don't recognize myself. Then I go out into the corridor and come across her shoes left under the hanger. I kick them with force. One shoe flies off to the wall. I'm angry, although I understand that it's useless. I grab a couple of her bags that were lying at the entrance and throw them out the door. A cold, dull feeling of hatred seethes in my soul. This is my home, too. Linda screamed when I told her to get ready. Well, no. After what I saw, she no longer lives here. That's what I decided, period. To make sure everything is final, I take a set of screwdrivers and go to the front door. I'm starting to change the lock. It takes time, but I don't care. I do it in a rage, hastily. I take out the old one, install a new cylinder, and check how the key turns. Now she definitely won't be able to just walk in while I'm gone. What if she comes back? The thought flashes. God bless her. Let it break then. I have the right to kick out of my house, the one who betrayed me. Yes, technically the house was bought during marriage, but now the law is in the background for me. For the first time, I feel like I have to act as the master of my life and not be a snot smear. After checking how the new lock works, I return to the house. Echoing silence. It seems that the echo of my steps is especially loud. I go into the kitchen, look at the table where I dreamed of laying out the fruit, opening the wine and surprising Linda. My stomach twists with self-loathing. How could I be so blind? I put a bottle of wine on the table, open it with a few rough movements, pour it into a glass. I don't want to look for it. I swallow it in one breath. Bitterly, I poured it again. The taste seems disgusting, but I force myself to drink. This is probably an attempt to numb the pain. I remember how Linda loved this particular variety. Now it makes me sick. The minutes drag on. Then I go out onto the porch and sit on the steps. You can hear the silence of the night. Somewhere cicadas are chirping in the grass. I light a cigarette, even though I know it's harmful. But now I don't care. As I take another drag, I look at the street lamp illuminating the driveway where someone else's Mustang had recently been parked. My heart is still squeezing, but besides the rage, I feel a strange sense of relief. Now there is no need to play a comedy, pretend that we are a family. Everything is clear as day. Linda betrayed me, and in the dirtiest way. And now she left with her boyfriend. Somewhere in your soul, a quiet voice sounds. Or maybe you got carried away, but I know it's not. If I had left her in the house, would I have imagined us walking past each other, knowing what happened? How will she justify herself? No, expelling is the logical outcome, even if deep down it hurts. I sit for so long, not noticing how time passes. At some point, I hear a car driving past, but it drives further down the street and turns. The neighbors' windows are dark. Everyone is already asleep, but it's like my whole life has been turned upside down. Finally, I get up, go into the house, and close the door all the way. I pour wine into the glass again and drink it slowly. Oddly enough, I go in to clean up. For some reason, I want to wash it away, erase all traces. I changed the bed linen, although I just removed the old ones. I took out fresh sheets and threw them on the bed. I think that I still won't be able to sleep, but so be it. I collect some women's things that I immediately see. Here's her robe on the back of a chair. There's jewelry scattered on the dressing table. There's a bottle of perfume. I grab everything into a box and take it out into the hallway. Maybe I'll give it to you tomorrow if she comes. Or let him take it as he wants. I can't look at this. At some point, I feel exhausted. The wine you drink makes itself felt. You feel dizzy. I go to the window in the living room, look at the dark sky, and say to myself, "Damn it, Jack, this is the end." And something breaks inside, and I fall into a chair, burying my face in my hands. The only thing that saves me from this attack of despair is the thought, she chose this herself. I couldn't do it any other way. And it seems that for the first time in a long time, I sigh with a clear feeling of freedom. In the morning, I wake up in the same chair with a stiff neck. I look out the window. It's already late morning, probably about 10 o'clock. I don't need to run to the construction site. Today is my day off, but my head is a mess of thoughts. The first thing I do is check my phone. Several missed calls from Linda and a couple dozen messages. I mostly read, "Sorry, I didn't mean to. It happened by accident. You don't understand." And other crazy excuses. A couple of voice messages I listen to. I can hear her son saying, "I didn't mean it like that. I love you. Come back." She swears that it was a mistake. I didn't know that everything would turn out this way. I delete everything in my heart. I don't need this slime. She will no longer appear on my doorstep. I understand that I need to take a few more decisive steps so as not to leave any chance of returning to my previous deceitful life. I give myself the thought, get a divorce, finally, once and for all. It sounds so scary, but it seems the only logical way out. I remember how long we were together, how we dreamed. But all this is in the past. She has already passed the point beyond which return is impossible, and I went through it myself. In the evening, when I was finishing a small renovation in the backyard, I was venting my anger by breaking down the old barn. I heard someone shouting at the fence. "Hey, Jack, are you alive there?" This is the neighbor, Mr. Albee, an elderly man. I come closer. "Yes, everything is fine. I saw here at night, some car was driving away from you at breakneck speed." "What happened?" I try to speak evenly. "It's okay, Mr. Albee, just family matters." He frowns, but doesn't ask questions. He nods and leaves. I wipe the sweat from my forehead and think, but now everyone will be wondering why Linda moved out. But I don't care. I don't want to go into gossip and explanations. Late at night, I sit in the workshop again, sorting through the tools. Somehow I try to distract myself from my thoughts, but I see her face everywhere. Once cheerful, but now scared and full of guilt. I replay the bedroom scene in my head. Again and again, it makes my cheekbones cramp. However, a strong feeling inside says, you did everything right. There is no forgiveness for betrayal. This is how another day of my new life passes. A week after Linda was thrown out of the house, I went to the office that provides legal services to find out the procedure for divorce. I don't care what she does, where she lives, how Brad is doing, it's her business. But I want to formalize everything so as not to give her a chance to return or claim property where she no longer has a place. Walking into the office, I feel a trembling inside me. After all, I have never come to this. To get a divorce means to cross out everything. And yet I decide, it's impossible otherwise. The lawyer, a short man with glasses named Steve, listens to me carefully. I will briefly state the essence. My wife cheated, I want to file for divorce, the house is registered as joint ownership, plus I have a car, some bills. We don't have any children. I understand, Steve says, looking at the computer monitor. In this case, you need to fill out an application, indicate the reason, and begin the process. As for property, if there is no prenuptial agreement, in Texas everything is usually equal, but there are nuances. I interrupt him. Equally, what if I prove the fact of her betrayal? Legally, the fact of treason can influence the court's decision, but it must be documented. But even so, the court often divides the property approximately equally. It makes me cringe. So she can have half the house. She had fun with someone else in my bed, and now half. I understand that this is painful, but the law is the law. If you want, we can try to negotiate and offer her monetary compensation. Maybe she'll agree to sign a waiver for her share of the house. Clenching my jaw, I summarize out loud. I'd rather give her the money than leave her anything in this house. Steve nods. Or you can offer to give her the car, some money, and she renounces claims to the property. This is usually possible if the other party agrees. I exhale and realize that this is probably the easiest way. The car is mine, but I'm ready to give it away if only it would be removed for good. I thought about doing this without delaying it because I don't want to waste my nerves on the courts. I make a plan in my head. I'll offer her a car, maybe a little more money, and let her go to hell. I was still thinking about selling the car. I might buy myself something else, and let her not whine that she was left with absolutely nothing. I'm cruel, but not completely. A couple of days after meeting with the lawyer, I sat down and called Linda. Although hearing her voice is the last thing I want, I need to settle the issue. She picks up almost immediately. Jack. I hear her voice tremble. I'm glad you called. Don't flatter yourself, I answer harshly. Let's get straight to the point. I want to file a divorce. She pauses for a few seconds, then says quietly, I understand. I thought that we might still have a chance. Chance? I almost burst out laughing. After what I saw, are you kidding me? Sorry, it's not what you think, Brad just. Enough. I interrupt so as not to hear her pathetic excuses. Everything is decided. I found a lawyer and am preparing documents. To avoid war, I propose a compromise. You take the car, some money from me, and leave the house as my property. Silence on the phone. Then she sighs. What if I don't agree? Then let's go to court. And believe me, I will tell everything as it happened. I have witnesses, and then, perhaps, you won't get anything, but everyone will know that you cheated. My threat may sound harsh, but I am really willing to go far to keep the house for myself. Linda apparently understands that her situation is not the best. Okay, he says quietly. I will think. You have a week, I say. Then I will file a lawsuit. She begins to ask in a whisper. Jack, can I go back to the house at least to pick up my things? I need some documents, jewelry, clothes. Write a list, I retorted. You'll come in with me. I don't want you to show up there without me. And, can I just talk to you for once in person? You have nothing to tell me, I answered coldly. Best wishes. I press end. I feel my hands trembling inside, my pulse jumping. These conversations open old wounds. I just want to put an end to it as soon as possible. A few days later, she actually sends a message with the list. He writes that he really regrets it, wants everything back, asks for another conversation. I ignore it. I set a time for us to meet at the house for her to pick up her things. She comes along with some girlfriend. I stand on the porch, opening the door for her. She looks old, her face is tear-stained. I see that she is trying to say something, but I am silent, looking past her. A friend, a sort of well-groomed lady in expensive glasses, looks at me and whispers something to Linda. "Don't mess with him, he's evil." I grin to myself. They don't even imagine how cold I am now. Linda, without saying too much, goes into the house, collects clothes and papers. He tries to start a conversation a couple of times, but I stop him. I don't want to listen to your explanations. When everything is put together, she casts a pleading look. "Jack, that's it," I say, pointing to the door. "We've finished." She sighs, takes out the bags, and I take the keys to my car and hand it to her. "If you agree to the conditions, the car is yours. Talk to my lawyer, he will arrange everything." She looks in surprise. "Are you really giving me the car?" "Yes, so that you don't whine later that you're left with nothing." And I close the door in her face. Maybe it's rude, but I don't have the strength for these conversations. I hear Linda sobbing outside the door, and her friend leads her to the car. Then the growl of the engine and departure. In the evening, the lawyer calls me. "Jack, apparently, your wife is ready to sign the agreement. She needs a sum of several $1,000s, plus a car. In exchange, she renounces claims to the house." "Great," I answer, almost without emotion. "Let him sign." So, just a couple of weeks after I saw them together, we actually decided everything. All that remains is to wait for the official divorce. Everything is mixed inside me, bitterness, resentment, but also great relief. It was as if he had come out of a long, exhausting battle. In the following days, she tries to call several times. The message, "I realized everything, I want to talk." Or, "Jack, let's give feelings a chance." I don't answer. I just wash them. I no longer have the strength or desire to talk about love with the person who humiliated me so much. And then the day comes when I go to court. The procedure is formal. Linda is also present with her lawyer. We exchange a few glances, but she looks down. The judge reads out the decision, everything quickly. Since we have no complaints, everything has been agreed upon, it means the divorce is granted. No mutual obligations, alimony, that's all. After the court hearing, we went out into the corridor. Linda approaches hesitantly, as if she would like to touch my hand, but I move her away. "Goodbye," I say quietly. She tries to find the words. "Jack, forgive me. I was stupid. I didn't understand how important what we had. You already said everything when you brought Brad here. And when she lied to me day after day, there are no more of us. Goodbye." She starts to cry, but I walk past her towards the exit. I don't look back. I only hear her quiet sobs. Maybe she regrets it, but it's too late. The part of me that she trampled will never return. When I go outside, I see that the weather is warm, the sun is gentle. I breathe in fresh air. It's over. I'm free and alone. But damn, how painful and bitter it is. I remember that I have a big project building a cottage by the lake. The guys are waiting for me. I go to the car, sit down, and start the engine. I won't waste any more tears on something that can't be returned. We must move on with our lives. The thought flashes that difficult days await me. The mental wound still hurts, but I can handle it. I drove out of the court parking lot without looking back. Now I know for sure. In this city, I have one goal: to build a new life. While I'm driving, my phone vibrates briefly, a new message, but not from Linda. It turns out that it is Carl, my foreman, asking when I will be at the site. I answer that in an hour. He sends back, "Great, boss, we have everything ready." I glance at the rear mirror. I see my face tired, but there is no former doom in my eyes. Let everything collapse, but now there are no lies and pain within four walls. I'm on my own. I add gas. Do I need a family now? Don't know. But I know for sure that since there is no return, I will move forward, and all sorts of brads and other betrayals will be left behind. And even though this chapter of life was written bitterly, I tore myself out of the captivity of deception. Over time, perhaps it will become just a memory. In the meantime, I have a construction site, my team, the noise of a saw, the smell of wood, and some money with which I will pay for freedom from my old life. I am ready to change and grow in my own way, not for the sake of other people's ambitions, but for the sake of my own future, where there is no longer room for lies and betrayal. I wake up early, feeling a familiar alertness that I haven't felt in months. It has been several days since I signed the papers to sell my old house, the same one where Linda and I lived, where I was once happy and where I was betrayed one terrible day. Now the house is officially not mine, and to be honest, my heart didn't flinch when I signed in at the realtor's office. Maybe it's because everything inside burned out long ago, or because too many bad memories are associated with these walls. Be that as it may, the transaction took place, and I received a considerable amount into my account. True, I can't say that I got rich. Part of the money went to cover some debts as a result of previous, not the most successful financial decisions in the marriage, and I gave part of it to the lawyer for all the troubles of the divorce. But the remaining amount was enough to buy a plot of land outside the city. I had my eye on this area even earlier when I was traveling outside the city and saw wonderful meadows there, low hills, and in the distance a grove with a river hidden behind it. The places are simply wonderful. Quiet, fresh, no fuss, no annoying neighbors. There are only a couple of buildings nearby, and only a few hundred meters away. The access road is dirt, but I'm used to off-road conditions. In general, when I saw the advertisement, plot for sale, 1.5 acres overlooking the valley, I almost jumped for joy. Now I am officially the owner of this piece of land. In the meantime, he settled in a small rented apartment, an ordinary two-room apartment on the outskirts of our town. The pay there is reasonable, and most importantly, I don't need to be stuck in someone else's home for a long time because I have a goal, to build a new house on my site, a house that I will build with my own hands. Maybe it won't be a huge mansion like Brad and Kate's, and I don't want that. I want to make a simple, reliable, and cozy home that reflects me and my values. It will be something like a challenge to fate. Look, I'm starting all over again. I am building a life for myself again, as strong as this foundation. In the morning, I get up in my rented apartment, looking at the simple peeling walls. The furniture here is the cheapest. Some sofa, a table, two chairs, a cramped kitchenette. But this is enough for me. I'm temporary. I drink a cup of coffee, throw the remains of yesterday's bun into my mouth, and I'm fine. I already have a plan in my head. Today I need to go to the realtor, sign the final papers on the plot. The seller is an elderly couple. They are glad that their land will end up in good hands, and after that, drop by the construction site of a cottage for clients, see how things are going. I collect my belongings, a notebook, a phone, a couple of tape measures, and jump out of the apartment. I know that it's still morning in the city, but the heat is already starting to feel oppressive. This is how summer is here. I love this smell of sultry air mixed with dust and the aroma of something blooming. I feel that the energy for change is boiling inside me. On the way, I dial Carl, my constant foreman and good friend. Carl, buddy, hello. How are you doing there? I hear his cheerful voice on the phone. Oh, boss, everything is in order. Today, we are pouring the last section of the foundation, then we will do the floors. We are waiting for you here for lunch. Excellent. I'll arrive after 11. Okay, grab some cold soda, otherwise we're melting here. No problem, I laugh. It will be done. I hang up the phone and feel something vibrate inside me with joy. I love these conversations with the guys. Everything is to the point, but with a bit of humor. Work is my lifeline. But today, I am also happy that my personal life has finally turned back to normal. There are no more old grievances, no more memories of betrayal every night. Yes, the pain remains somewhere inside, but I feel that I have become stronger, and I have a new plan. When I drive up to the realtor's office, I notice a truck with furniture parked there, someone obviously with a drive-in. Probably clients. I go inside and am greeted with a smile by Mrs. Rose, a lady of about 50 who handled my transaction. Good morning, Mr. Jack. Everything is ready. Sign here, please. I sign my autograph in several places, and Mrs. Rose announces with a smile, Congratulations, the site is yours. Thank you, I say, and I feel how everything inside me rejoices. You are a builder, right? She asks, as if guessing what my plans are for this piece of land. Yes, I smile. I'm going to build my own house. I'm sure he'll be wonderful, Mrs. Rose nods. If anything, please contact us. We have friends who are involved in communications. Of course, thank you, I said, wink and leave the office. A couple of steps before the car I stop, turn to the sky and quietly say to myself, well, Jack, let's go. This short moment when you realize that you are now truly the master of your land, the master of your destiny. This is a new chapter of my life. I spend the rest of the day at the construction site of that cottage, where my team is finishing the foundation. I answer the guys' questions and help with calculations. While we are pouring concrete, I tell Carl that I bought a plot. He's happy for me. Great, boss. Shall we build there? Of course, I nod. No contractors, I want everything myself. This will be my personal project. Are you calling me? Carl jokes, spitting dust. Or do you want to fight alone? I'll call you, of course, I laugh. At the same time, we will do everything quickly and efficiently. But I warn you, the budget is modest, you will have to save. Yes, I'm ready to help if you have an idea. Carl grins. It will be cool. We continue to work, and inside I rejoice in confidence. I like to imagine how soon I will put a foundation on a new site, then walls, a roof, and I will select every detail to my taste. Yes, I'll have to temporarily live in a rented apartment, lose time and money, but that's okay. I finally felt a sense of purpose, and this is clearly better than vegetating for years in a house where I was deceived. In the evening, I return to the squalid apartment, which has already become a little familiar to me. I take off my dusty clothes and go to the shower. Water washes away sweat and dust, and with them the remnants of memories of the past. I remember how worried I was when I signed the documents to sell the old house, but now I understand. Everything was right. No half measures. I'm starting over. I get out of the shower, wrap myself in a towel, sit down on the sagging sofa, turn on the laptop, a screensaver with plans for the foundation of my future home looms on the screen. I will still change the project and improve it. I go to my email and see a couple of emails from work. I'm checking. I immediately receive a notification on my phone. The funds have been transferred to your account. Yep, that's the remaining payment on the house. I smile. The day ended very productively. Having poured myself a glass of cool water, I go to the window. It's evening outside the glass. It's already dark, the lights of other people's windows. And I think, I can do anything. The main thing is not to go back, not to succumb to weakness, not to let into your life someone who has already betrayed you. A new site, a new life, but the old ghosts are still trying to remind themselves. A week passes after the sale of the house. I am busy with paperwork. I need to obtain building permits, submit several applications to the local administration, and sort out the water and electricity connections. I'm like a squirrel in a wheel in the city. In the morning, I go to the municipality, then to the building materials warehouse, then to the site to see the guys, and in the evening to my apartment, where I spend time at the computer drawing and adjusting plans for the future house. Work is in full swing, and this is good, but sometimes unexpected calls or messages come on the phone, which spoil the mood. Take today, for example. I'm sitting here, filling out another permit form. I need to indicate the area of the site, the layout of the building, and various technical details. Suddenly, the phone vibrates and an unfamiliar number is displayed. I automatically pick up the phone. Hello? Jack, hi, this is Marge. We know each other, I'm Linda's friend, remember? I pause for a second, trying to remember. Oh yes, Marge is one of those friends who admired their trips to Bali and noisy parties. I chuckle darkly. Yes, I remember. I answered restrainedly. What do you need? Sorry to bother you. Her voice sounds constrained, not as self-confident as I've heard it before. I just wanted to talk. Linda is worried. She says that you don't react to anything, but she would like. I don't even let her finish. Stop. I don't want to talk about Linda. We are divorced, and I asked you not to interfere in my life. Jack, wait, don't hang up. I know it's Linda's fault. She made a big mistake, but you were such a good couple. Maybe you can forgive her. She's really suffering. I hear Marge trying to find soft words, and everything is boiling inside me. What the hell is forgive? It's over. It's amazing that Linda now enlists her friends to persuade me. Sorry, Marge, I say as coldly as possible. I advise you not to waste your time. My relationship with Linda is in the past, and I don't want to talk about it. That's it, be healthy. I press end. I look at the phone, hostility arises in my soul. How dare they all call me, I think. I have already blacklisted her number, as well as a couple of other friends who pestered me after the divorce. But then they find new numbers and come with persuasion. I'm suddenly overwhelmed with anger again. What the hell do they want? She herself destroyed our marriage, and now that everything has gone to pieces for her, she decided to return. If I were weaker, I could falter, the thought flashes, but I'm not like that. I immediately go into my phone settings and block this number. At the same time, I scroll through the list of contacts, clearing everyone who is at least somehow connected with Linda. Kate, Marge, their husbands, acquaintances. I don't need anything in common with them anymore. The next day, too. I'm sitting in my car in the parking lot of a building materials store, scrolling through my social media feed, even though I'm rarely there, and suddenly I see another friend of Linda's, Betty, writing to me in direct message. Hi, Jack, how are you? Linda really wants to talk. Should you two meet? I almost dropped my phone from nervous laughter. Have they all decided to press me together? I will block her immediately. It's not funny anymore. I feel disgust starting to bubble up in my chest. I decide, enough. You need to thoroughly cleanse your life of everything that reminds you of the past. In the evening, when I return to my rented apartment, the first thing I do is shake out everything that I brought from the old house. Boxes of papers, old photos, gifts, memorabilia. There are family albums there, where Linda and I are on trips, once cheerful and happy. I take one album, flip through a couple of pages. We laugh, hug. And I understand that now all this seems to belong to other people. That Linda is no longer there. I collect all these photos, postcards with the inscription, I love you, your wife, souvenirs from our trips, everything in garbage bags. At the same time, I'm throwing away some home decorations that we once bought. No, this is not mine. This is all the past. I will live without this rubbish. At some point, I find the ring that I gave her for her anniversary. Apparently, she left it when she moved out. I stop with this ring in my hand. I watch it glisten under the lamp, and my memory flashes back to the day I handed it to Linda. She then cried with joy, hugged me, and whispered how much she loved me. And was it sincere or not? I don't know anymore. It hurts me unbearably. I want to squeeze this ring and throw it out the window, but then something inside me hesitates. Or maybe I should leave it. This is the memory of those good times that also happened. But I remember that the good time ended the way it ended, and everything was outweighed by her deceptions. I go to the trash bag and throw the ring in there. That's it, goodbye. I free myself from all attachments to the past. I spent the whole evening doing my own kind of cleansing. When I carry the heavy bags to the container, I look at the sky. It's black. The stars are barely visible due to the city lighting. And suddenly a thought arises in me. It feels like I'm throwing away my memories and my pain. I'm cleansing myself. No sadness, just fatigue and relief. Returning to the apartment, I turn on the light. There is a phone ringtone on the table. Again, someone is calling from an unknown number. I clench my jaw. Is it really someone's girlfriend again? But this time, the number is from another state. I suspect that it's not them after all. I don't take it. I put my phone on silent mode. I won't let them disturb my peace anymore. A couple more days pass like this. From time to time, they write to me, call me from unfamiliar numbers. I ignore everything. From time to time, I am asked to take Linda back, give her a chance. Friends, or maybe she herself under different names. I don't want to know. Let him live his own life. My life is moving forward, and I have too much to do to waste time on the past. Work continues to be my escape, and the more I immerse myself in projects, the better I feel. From early morning until late at night, I keep moving between several construction projects, finishing that lakeside cottage for an elderly couple, taking on a small garage renovation in the city center, and I'm starting to prepare my site little by little. I'm removing the top layer of soil, marking where the foundation will be. I can't fully build there right away because I need a tractor for leveling and a normal layout of the site. But the planning process itself brings me pleasure. Drawing, estimating the budget, calculating materials. Every evening when I get back, I take out my laptop, draw diagrams, and add details. I always wanted to create my own house compact, but with everything to my liking. A spacious workshop, a nice kitchen dining room, a cozy living room with a panoramic window overlooking the sunset. As I imagine this, a nagging feeling arises inside me, similar to joy and hope. However, I won't lie. Linda's betrayal sometimes makes itself felt. It hurts to remember that I used to dream of a family nest where we would be together. But every time dark thoughts try to creep into my head, I pick up a hammer, go to the next construction site and hammer nails, assemble structures, cut wood. Physical labor, the noise of a circular saw, is the best cure for mental pain. With every nail I hit, with every board I cut, I feel like I'm taking back control of my life. Yes, the world can be rebuilt, and I literally do it. One day, when the guys and I were already at the final stage of building a cottage for that elderly couple, the owner, Mr. Finch, smiled at me. Jack, you did an amazing job. My wife and I are delighted. We didn't expect everything to be so fast and so neat. I'm glad to try. I moved away from the wall where I was attaching the last lattice. As soon as the paint dries, we will finally vacuum all the rooms and you can move in. Mr. Finch nods, coughing good-naturedly. I think we'll have the furniture delivered in a week. Thank you again. By the way, maybe we should build some kind of extension, mini shed. You can, I agree, smiling. Let's discuss. I walk away, letting them talk to Carl about the price list, and I sit down on the porch and look at the result of our work. Nice cottage with a cozy veranda overlooking the water. I wish I could do the same someday, sit on the terrace with a book or a guitar and look at the river. But I have my own plot, and there is not a river there, but a wide valley. Good too. At this moment, a new notification arrives on the phone. Damn, I'm already afraid to look, but I look anyway. This time, this is a message from one of my future clients, some young guy who wants to make a wooden gazebo on his property. I'm glad it's not Linda or her friends. I will call back and arrange a meeting in a couple of days. After a day of work, our team decided to drop into a local bar. Usually we send the guys home right away, but this time everyone agrees. Let's celebrate the completion of major work. I don't mind, although I don't plan to drink a lot. And we head to our favorite beer house on the outskirts. This bar is not particularly pompous, but cozy, with wooden decoration, high chairs at the counter, dim lighting, and a friendly atmosphere. Quiet music is playing, you can talk and relax. We burst in a noisy group. Me, Carl, a couple of other guys from the brigade. We sat down at the table and ordered beer. Carl tells a new joke about how one builder mixed up the sides of the plan and put a door in the window. We all laugh. The mood is good because the project is at the finish line. A minute later, I went to the bar to order some light snacks. And then I noticed the barmaid, a slender girl with brown hair tied in a ponytail. She deftly wipes glasses and puts them in a row. She has an open, direct look, and when our gazes meet, she smiles slightly. Hello, what do you want? Hello, I answer and come closer. We need a jug of beer and, what snacks do you have? She looks at the menu. French fries, chicken wings, onion rings, something else. What will we do? Let's have some wings, I decided. and also onion rings. It will be done, she says cheerfully, her voice sounding pleasant. I take a closer look at her face. A chiseled chin, a few freckles on her nose, gray-blue eyes. It seems that she is 5 years younger than me, but not a girl, but rather a woman who already has her own views on life. She catches my gaze and frowns slightly. What, is there something wrong with me? Sorry, I smile, looking away. I thought about it. You just have a familiar expression on your face, although I don't remember exactly where I saw you. She snorts. They say that I look like my cousin, but she lives in another state. It's unlikely that you know each other. My name is Claire. Jack, I introduce myself. Nice to meet you. Mutually, she bites her lip and nods somewhere towards the table where my guys are sitting. As I understand it, you are having a group party. Yes, we finished a big project. The guys need to be happy. Cool. She speaks and fills a tall jug with beer at the same time. In your business, it's probably a rare luxury to get out somewhere, right? Yes, all the time in dust, in cement. I laugh and watch her put the jug on a tray and put a cup of ice next to it. She suddenly asks, how long have you been building? About 5 years. Before that service. It's clear. Do you love your job? I found meaning in it, I admit, but I think to myself, and salvation from internal wounds. Claire looks at me as if with understanding, smiles softly. Well, a builder sounds cool. You are doing something that will remain for people at home where they will return. Exactly, I cleared my throat. How long have you been bartending? Oh yes, for a couple of years now. Before that, I was a waitress in a neighboring state. I moved here myself. It's inexpensive to rent a house here, and I found a job. It's clear. I nod, and at that moment I catch myself thinking that it's comfortable for me to talk. No tension, no hints, everything is easy. Okay, the guys are waiting there. I'll bring everything now, she winks. I'll be there if you need anything. I return to the table with the team. Carl has already sorted out jokes for all occasions. When I put the pitcher of beer on the table, no one notices my thoughts, but I myself think, interesting girl, this Claire. No show-off, no pretensions. It's noisy at our table. We're pouring beer and knocking mugs together. I eat the wings, which are quickly brought, and sometimes I glance at the bar counter and see how busy she is there with other customers serving drinks, smiling, joking. Lively, spontaneous. Later, when the guys are about to leave, some have family, some have business in the morning, I decide to stay a little longer. I say that I want to finish my glass and chat with the bartender about life in this area. They smile knowingly and leave me alone at the table. I approach the counter and Claire is just finishing serving another customer. Turns to me. Well, do you want another beer? Maybe something stronger, I decided. Whiskey, but without any additives, a couple of ice cubes. Great, she takes out a bottle from the cabinet. I love whiskey myself. There's something real about him. Agree. As she pours, I notice a small horseshoe tattoo on her wrist. I ask, what is this? A symbol of good luck. She smiles. Exactly. A horseshoe for luck, although I made it when I was unhappy. He freezes for a moment, as if deciding whether to tell me. In general, it was a complicated story. I then got a tattoo to believe happiness will come. And it came in its own way. Life stories, I nod understandingly. I, too, recently had a difficult streak. Will you tell me? She raises an eyebrow questioningly, but without pressure, just interest. I sigh, take a sip of the whiskey she placed in front of me, and feel the pleasant bitterness. Then, briefly and without details, I mention that I went through a divorce, was betrayed, and now I'm starting over. Claire listens carefully, without interjecting with advice or sympathetic sighs. I can only see from her face that she really cares. You know, she says, having finished listening, sometimes life unfolds in such a way that it is better to pull out a bad tooth than to suffer. The main thing is not to lose yourself. I didn't lose it, I answered quietly, even though it was difficult. I'm happy for you. We talk for another 10 minutes, exchanging a couple of jokes. I find out that she loves to travel and dreams of opening a small bar on the coast if she ever gets rich. She has no desire to force an acquaintance, and it's nice. I'm not in a state to rush into a new relationship, but I enjoy Claire's company. She smiles directly, laughs at my jokes, and doesn't judge. That's enough for me for now. When I leave the bar, it's already dark outside, but the air is warm. I walk to my car and think, good evening. I chatted effortlessly with a pretty girl and didn't feel any debt or obligation, as was the case with Linda when she demanded more and more. It was an easy, simple conversation, and that suits me now. I get behind the wheel and start the engine. Memories appear before my eyes. Not long ago, I was afraid to open up to someone after such a betrayal. But it seems that time is passing, and the wounds are scarring. I don't know yet what will come of it, and I'm in no hurry. As Claire said, sometimes life puts things in order. Let it be so. As expected, if something happens in a small town, sooner or later you will hear rumors. I try not to follow Linda or her exploits, but one day Jerry, an old builder of mine who likes to scratch his tongue, shows up at my workshop that I temporarily set up in one of the warehouses. I immediately understand from his sly grin that he brought news. "Hello, Jack. How are you?" "Okay," I answered, continuing to polish the board. "What's new?" "Yes, I heard here that your ex, well, Linda, got into a bad situation." I put the sander down and turn around. "So what? They say Brad left her." "He doesn't seem to be that rich himself, but he had a lot of show-offs. In general, they didn't get along, and he didn't have enough money to satisfy all her wants. In short, he got away, and she was left alone and probably in debt." I am silent for a few seconds, digesting the information. For some reason, I don't have any malicious joy, just a slight feeling of satisfaction that justice has triumphed. But there is no particular pity either. A person always has a choice. "They also say," Jerry continues, "that her friends turned their backs on her. Maybe they had some kind of squabble there, I don't know. In general, she now wanders on her own. Someone saw her working in a couple of places, but it seems that she is holding on with all her strength." "I see," I answered briefly. "I see that Jerry is eager for gossip and wants to hear my reaction, but I don't give him this joy. Look, I don't want to get involved in this. We are already strangers. It is enough for me to know that I am now free." "Yes, I understand," Jerry shrugs. "Just thought you might be interested." "Well, thanks for the information," I say calmly, "but I have no desire to talk about it." Jerry nods and leaves. I stand there for a few more minutes, staring at the wall. I'm trying to realize that Linda has painted herself into a corner. Of course, I have no sympathy inside. I remember how she despised my dirty work as a builder, how she dreamed of scope and chic, and that's how it ended. I can't say that I am delighted with her misfortune, no, but perhaps you can call it a natural outcome. Towards evening, I meet with Carl. We go to buy cement at a wholesale warehouse. I share with him briefly the rumors I heard. He clicks his tongue. "Listen, boss, remember, back then I said, she didn't appreciate that she had a good husband? Here you go." "Yes," I nod. "Life itself puts everything in its place." "Don't you regret it?" "About what?" "Well, that I didn't try to return her, for example. Maybe she repented?" I shake my head. "No, Carl, I have no regrets. You cannot try to return betrayal. And there may be repentance, but alas, it is too late. And why should I believe her?" "I understand," agrees Carl. "That's good. You are now on the rise. You should have seen how you work and live in recent weeks, a completely different person than before." "Yes, I feel lighter. No squabbles. No, you're not my boss. Freedom." We exchange knowing glances, and at that moment I realize that my soul is now truly free from anger and pain. Let Linda learn to live on her own now, I think, and I have no desire to take revenge or shower her with curses. Everyone just has their own path. Finally, the evening I've been waiting for comes. I have a day off, and I decide to spend it on my property just to be in nature, drink coffee, watch the sunset, and do leisurely chores. I arrived there in my car. Yes, it's already new. I sold the old pickup truck and took a more recent model. When I go out to my plot, I inhale the air with pleasure. It smells of grass, a slightly bitter aroma of the field. My plot still looks modest. A plot of land has been leveled for a foundation. Building materials have been dumped here and there are piles of gravel and sand. But in the far corner, there is a tree growing, large, spreading, and I look closely at it, thinking, I should leave this tree in the yard. There will be shade when the house is built. I sit down on an overturned barrel, which I have adapted as a stool, and take out a thermos of coffee. I made it at home. Hot, fragrant. It's nice to sip while looking out across the expanse. Here, outside the city, there are no high-rise buildings visible, no noise from the roads, just space and a light breeze. A dog from a shelter is sitting next to me. I decided to adopt a dog about a week ago. I have long wanted to have a four-legged friend, but Linda was always against it. Don't bring dirt into the house. There's dog hair everywhere. Now I'm free like the wind. The dog's name is Toby. He is a mixed mongrel, medium in size, black and white in color, and has intelligent eyes. The shelter said that he is not young. He is 5 years old, but very good-natured and devoted. I brought him to the site, and he seemed happy to run around in the spacious grass. Well, Toby, I say, sipping my coffee, when we finish construction, you will have your own booth or even a bed in the house. Toby yawns and tilts his head funny. I smile. Previously, when I was married, I thought, why do I need a dog? They won't allow it anyway. But now I feel like it's the opposite. I need it. You can talk to a dog, and you look at the world through different eyes, more simple and sincere. The sun is slowly setting. The colors of the sky change from orange to pink, and then to purple. Beauty. I imagine how great it would be to build a house here, take a rocking chair out onto the veranda, and admire such sunsets. And don't listen to anyone, live the way I want. I take out my smartphone, take a couple of pictures of the landscape, and send them to Carl. Look how beautiful it is. We'll be pouring the foundation soon. He responds with an emoticon saying, cool, I can't wait. Then, suddenly, the thought of Claire comes to mind. Maybe I should send her a photo too. She would probably be pleased with that. But I hesitate. We don't yet have the habit of corresponding. We communicate when I come to the bar. Sometimes we exchange short messages, but I don't want to be intrusive. However, I decided to write anyway. Hi, Claire. I'm sitting on my site, admiring the sunset. How was your evening? I am attaching a photo. 2 minutes of silence. I think it's probably in vain, but suddenly the answer comes. What a beautiful view. I'm jealous. I'm on shift now. There's noise and chaos here. You're lucky. Smiley. My heart warms. I write, someday I'll build a house here. I invite you to come see it in person. And I sent it. I smile looking at the screen. Another couple of minutes pass. The answer. With pleasure. We'll agree on when I'll have a day off. I squinted at the sunset. This is the thrill of freedom. No one bags, no limits. You can slowly communicate, make friends, and maybe something more. Not all at once. I like talking to her. She doesn't demand any obligations from me. She doesn't bother me with questions about the past. And at the same time lively and interesting. I put the phone in my pocket and drank coffee again. Toby sits down next to me and puts his muzzle on my knee. I scratch him behind his ear. I think, life has begun again. I am free and not alone. I have my job, my plot, my upcoming construction project. I have friends. I have a dog. There are, perhaps, the beginnings of a new relationship. What else do you need? Remembering all the suffering I have endured over the past months, I feel a real sense of relief. Yes, there is still a lot of work to be done on myself, on trusting people, but I have a chance. And I feel that from now on, I will be honest, first of all, with myself. I will never allow others to put pressure on me or manipulate me. I will not live by other people's ambitions. The sun has almost disappeared behind the hill. The sky is getting purpler, and I say out loud, turning to myself and the dog, Look, Toby, this is the beginning of a new chapter. We live on. He, of course, does not understand the words, but happily wags his tail as if he agrees. And I soak up this moment. There are drawings nearby and dozens of ideas in my head. I'm not rushing things with Claire. I don't want to immediately build castles in the air, but I feel that my heart is no longer gnawing at pain. It is open and ready to live.